Well, happy Monday night, everyone, from the Simpademic. Jason coming at you here, and I wanted to discuss the subject because I've been kind of trying to sum this up here with other materials and partially with my own mind, but I wanted to talk tonight about why simping doesn't work. And there are some very specific points. And the person who I basically stole this from is Anna Jorgensen, your Wingmam or Wingmam TV. I've posted her short to my Twitter X page, and she basically nails it. And why doesn't it work? Well, let's start with the basic logic of why men believe that they need to do this. And it's pretty simple. You logically would think that, doing everything that you can to get the woman or girl is what works. But there are some biological things to point out here to show why it doesn't. And as I've said before, these are things that men resort to when they don't feel like they can control the situation. And women are not to be controlled. Let's just start out, get that out of the way. And why is doing everything, lavishing attention, lavishing money, always being available, why does that not work? Well, let's get down. I'm going to get down to the hypergamy part here real quick, and that is women want men who are wanted by other women. This is part of the hypergamy equation. They want to make sure that they have the best possible man for them, and this is how they gauge that. A man who is wanted by other women is more appealing to the broader scale of women out there. And very simple put, it's kind of like let's take the Popeyes chicken sandwich for example here. For a while there, it seemed like, when they first came out with their chicken sandwich, the Popeyes chicken sandwich was all the rage, and everybody was lining up and everybody was just, going bonkers over it. But everybody wanted it because everyone else wanted it, and it kind of was a feeding frenzy from there. So women want a Popeyes chicken sandwich of sorts, and they want what everybody else is going bonkers for. So it's kind of that feeding frenzy mentality. When something becomes a smash hit, everyone wants a piece of it. And so that's one big part of why simping doesn't work. The other part of why simping doesn't work is if you're constantly available for a woman, you're always available, every, around the clock. If they need to get a ride at 2 o'clock in the morning, they can call you and you come. This is not the energy that you want to project. You want to have a busy life outside of the relationship. And whether they say it or not, women want that too. And they want to have a life outside of the relationship, and they want you to, it makes them feel a lot more confident in you if you do too. Now, fortunately, I have this already covered. I am a returning league bowler. I just got back from the gym today. Holding up this phone is a bit of work because it was arm day, so they busted our ass on that. And so that is, I'm very tired right now. It took me a little bit of extra encouragement from within to even film this tonight because, well, I'm exhausted. And it was a long day at work as usual. And going back to the gym, for arm day, they really drill you at this place, and it's nothing comes easy. Nothing has ever come easy for me personally. So I have a very active life. I am an active volunteer at my church, and I'm also part of a men's small group within the same church. And the four of us are kind of like the little band of brothers right now who are helping each other work, push through the work week. Having men friends who you can trust and be confiding in is the best thing that you can ask for as a man in this particular day and age. Because if you're open and confiding in your woman, they may not be able to handle it very well, and they may view it as weakness or use it against you. Any of the above on that one. They will not. It will not turn out well for you. Usually, sometimes it does, and some women are very capable of handling and supporting in that regard, but most are not. And so, having that group of guys that you can confide in, and in my case, spiritually as well as my anxiety disorder, all four of us have some variety of mental health challenge, and so it's a very safe place for all four of us to confide in. One of the guys in the group runs is a software developer, works for himself, was offered a job lately and he told us things about the job that he didn't even tell his wife, because he didn't want her to be concerned about money, and he didn't want her to be overthinking things with money. So he confided that in us and not his wife. This is the type of thing that I think most men, I would highly encourage, have in their life, whether it's through your church or whether it's otherwise. It doesn't matter to me. You need to have that group of guys that you can trust and that you can confide in, because as men, in the Bible it says, as iron sharpens iron, we sharpen one another. And I think this makes men who have this kind of support, I think, are more appealing, because you have a source to go to outside of a relationship with a woman. And so having a life, not always being available to a woman is very appealing. It's actually, they will never say it, but it's what they need, to have a man who has a life outside of the relationship. I don't have a relationship, but I have a very full life right now. And some days she might find me, and if she doesn't, again, that's good. That's fine. I'm very good with being on my own and on myself, and to be able to afford a decent sized apartment in exurban Minnesota is, in this economy in these days, it's pretty substantial. And it's something that I hang a lot of pride on. I hang my hat on it, and because of this, and because of the fact that I keep a very busy life, outside of even my employment, outside of in any relationship, any woman that comes into the picture is going to, I don't want to say be confronted with it, but they will wind up facing that. And women like it when they have to earn your attention, as Anna said. They want to have to earn your attention. It doesn't just get freely given, unwarranted, easily on the drop of a hat. No, she would have to earn my attention, because right now I have so much going on in my life outside of any potential relationship. She would have to get my attention just to even have me in the picture to begin with. Because look at everything that's going on. But women are drawn to that. And the simp who is always there for them and will basically cater their every whim, if I dare say it, that is actually a turn off for most women. They don't want to be somebody who is easily had. And a simp is looking to flood them with so much attention, commenting on everything that they post, texting them at every chance if they're fortunate enough to have their number. I once thought that, with my generalized anxiety disorder, that a woman would help with that. Actually, what I've learned recently is that my anxiety disorder would probably cause me to simp, which is, again, unattractive. And so what you need, what all men need, is a life outside of a relationship, one where the relationship has to kind of fit in, and not to always be there for the women, giving them attention, being available for their every little itty bitty need, and catering to their every whim, and agreeing with everything that they say. This does not work. It just doesn't. Women are drawn to, and it gives off a desperate vibe too, which runs completely counter to being wanted by other women, because if you're acting like this towards a certain woman, they're going to view you as having no other options. And if you have no other options, that's the exact opposite of what they're looking for. They want a man who is desired by other women. And a simp projects the exact 180 opposite of this. So that is my little rant tonight for, why simping doesn't work. I don't think anybody can argue with any of these points. If you can, please drop it in the comments. And just let me know what you think. As usual, if you do drop a comment, and if I feel compelled to discuss it, your comment could become part of a future episode. I don't have enough followers right now for me to be all that picky on that. And so it's easy with an audience of only 47 subscribers to be able to respond personally to most of them. And if one of them really if I feel really moved or feel really urged by one to discuss it, it could become a future episode. So comment away is how I'm going to end tonight. It's Jason on the Simpademic, and this is why simping doesn't work. I will leave you on that, and I will see you tomorrow night. Peace out, homies.